Hello and welcome to My Mom's Basement presented by Barstool Sports. It is Robbie Fox and Clem back for another Penguin edition of My Mom's Basement. We're going to be recapping the Penguin episode 2. We're also going to be talking a little bit of Agatha all along. People have been asking, are you going to watch it? Are you going to be recapping it? I have watched all 3 episodes. Clem has watched none of it. So at the end of our Penguin recap, I will just describe all 3 episodes to Clem, and that's how he'll be following along. And if you're listening to this on the podcast feed, the episode is going to cap off with an interview with Kevin Smith. If you're on YouTube or Rumble, it's already on our channel, so you could go over and watch it there. But it was a big week in the basement, Clem. We got a lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about in the basement right now. My voice is a little bad, so I apologize, everyone out there. We had the Mets game yesterday. I've been sick for about a week, so we're struggling through it. We're on the struggle bus, but we have a lot of stuff to talk about. And again, the Penguin, I think we both agree, was a good episode. Agatha all along, I've heard good things. I said like a month or two ago, I'm not going to watch it because I didn't love the trailer. I didn't love the idea of the show, and I'm not a horror guy, so it was kind of like, it just may not be for me. However, the reviews so far have been pretty good based on what I'm seeing on Twitter and whatnot. And people are telling me, Clem, don't watch it. Like, keep the good juju flowing. And I mean, at this point, I think we kind of have to, right? So yeah. I kind of like this idea. We did something similar back at one point during one of the Mets seasons where they were sucking. I was like, I'm not watching tonight's game. And then KFC would describe the game to me. And I'd be like, oh my God. And then he's like, and then we blew the game. Like, oh no. But he's like, then we came back in the ninth. I'm like, yeah. So I think it's kind of like a fun way to do that with the show. And I get to kind of learn some stuff about Agatha. And I'm sure I'm not the only person who's not watching it. But it sounds like from the people that have watched it so far, it's actually not bad. I don't know if I can say good, maybe good, but not bad would at least be the least we could say about it, which is a good thing.
We'll get into it.
Okay,
we'll
fair
definitely.
enough.
I think people are excited for the description version of it, though, because when I tweeted that we would be doing this, I got a lot of good feedback. People were excited. I think, like you said, maybe people that aren't even watching it just want the cliff notes, just want the spark notes, and I'll give it to you on this podcast. But first, yeah, we are going to talk about the Penguin episode 2. Not as strong as the pilot, which you would expect. Most pilots, they try to kick the doors down. But I thought, again, very good. My main takeaway was kind of that Sofia Falcone is stealing the show. I know we talked about her last week, the mother from How I Met Your Mother. Spoilers. Now I know that and everything. But man, like this episode, again, I was kind of blown away by her. And that's not to take anything away from Colin Farrell. He is still amazing in his Tony Soprano Penguin-esque role. And every week it just feels more and more like he's Tony Soprano, but it's never a detriment. It never hurts the show. It never feels like a ripoff, despite it, existing in a very similar realm.
It's not often. Maybe that's not true. Batman villains. Oh my God, my voice is so bad. Batman villains are not usually like the likable anti-heroes. And that might be a little extreme, but like you're usually rooting for Batman to kick their ass. Like The Joker is an awesome villain, especially obviously Heath Ledger's. But at the same point, you're like, this guy needs to go, right? And you're like, can we just maybe break that no killing rule, Batman? Because these guys are a real problem. Whereas with the Penguin, I'm kind of fucking I'm rooting for him. I am rooting for this guy, and he is a legitimate bad man, bad person.
I'm glad you said that because I also had the same takeaway this week. Watching things go wrong for the Penguin gave me this feeling of like, not anxiety, but like just like viewer anxiety, like fan anxiety of like, how is he going to get out of this one? And I was like, how am I thinking this about Oswald Cobblepot? This motherfucker, this like little snake who's just this, big ball as Danny DeVito and Burgess Meredith back in the day. It was just like an eye-opening watch for me, episode 2, of like, man, I'm rooting for the Penguin right now. Like, how did they do that to me? And they didn't make him like the most likable guy. He's in a classic mob way. He's likable, and then they'll remind you that he's evil and he's actually the worst. But it's like, very little content went into me being a Penguin fan. It was episode 2, and I'm rooting for this Oswald Cobb. And he's not a great guy. So, yeah, it's very, very impressive. And even the world they're building now with showing us more of the Falcones, Luca Falcone, Carmine's brother coming into the fold. And they're bringing us back to Arkham with dream sequences. They're giving us a little bit more on the Hangman, what that could have meant for Sofia. I think they're like crafting a very good universe right here where I wouldn't be surprised. I know Colin Farrell was like, I'm never seeing that fucking penguin makeup ever again, and I'd be happy. I wouldn't be surprised if they built a series where you could do like a season 2 and a season 3 on this, even if it comes after the next Batman movie. Just keep Oz Cobb alive and keep giving us mob Batman. I called it Gotham City Sopranos, and the official Batman account responded to me this week.
Really?
I thought that was funny. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to be one of those things that might end up being kind of a mind fuck when in the next Batman, the Penguin is at his full powers, and we're like, and he's fucking up Batman, fucking up Gotham, and we're like, this is the guy we were just rooting for. And there's a chance they may kind of like hit those parts where they remind you why you like him so much, or there might be a thing that's like, I can't believe we just rooted for this monster to like survive and climb up the organized crime ranks, and then he ends up being the motherfucker that the Penguin is in all the show. So I love that kind of stuff. I always like when they make the villains more relatable, more likable. Again, some would say that's problematic that I like the villains so much as I'm looking at my Magneto helmet and my Thanos glove. But it's like, I think that's one of the coolest parts about Magneto in particular is you do see a reason why he does what he does. And as we learned in our Secret Wars reread, it's like, he's kind of, you can see both sides of the equation with him. And I don't think Oz is nearly the same. And I think they're going to hammer that home. But yeah. And then, like you said, with Sofia, she kind of is what everyone said that actress was going to be. She's crushing it. It feels more than just a Penguin show, which I'm sure Colin Farrell is kind of happy about, where it's not just him lifting this whole franchise on his back. And I said I will not talk How I Met Your Mother anymore. So I'm not going to talk about how there is an alternate ending of How You Met Your Mother. That's out there. If you go on YouTube, I blogged it on the site. I'm not going to say you can go and read that and watch the video, and it's 1 billion times better than the original ending. I'm not going to say that because I said no more How I Met Your Mother talk. No. But that would be the last thing I would say if I did say there's no How I Met Your Mother talk. And
that's right. But you wouldn't say that. So we're not even going to go there. We're not going to talk about that. Let's get into the episode a little bit. There is a lot of stuff that there is to break down. Before we even go to the first thing, I just wanted to also make note of one of my favorite moments, little things in this episode, is the moment where he's speaking a little bit of Spanish. I'm like, oh my God, that makes sense. He's a nightclub owner. Of course he speaks a little Spanish, and he's mixing it up with ladies of the night. And last episode, when he's like, hello, ladies, and he's walking past, he gives him the Val Venus a little bit. But yeah, Sofia meets with Alberto to open the episode in Arkham. And you think at first maybe we're getting a flashback, but it's actually a dream sequence because he's got no pinky, and then he gets his head blown off in front of her. I appreciated how this scene looked exactly as the Riddler interrogation looked in The Batman. Yes. Like it was exactly one for one, almost like the set was still up and they were just like, oh, we could still use this. And she's in therapy. We find out this is her flashing back in therapy. Dr. Julian Rush is her therapist. I'm not sure if he's from the comics, but great opening where he's like, you're safe, you're home. You're not in Arkham anymore. And she's like, I'm not safe because I'm home. Where it's another classic mob trope that they're leaning into here of yeah, you might be safer in the can than out of the can.
And yeah, exactly. And they said in Arkham, what's the word I'm looking for? The outfits are exactly the same collar that they had on when you're seeing the collar and you're thinking with her. And our boy, heavy spoilers, did say there is a chance this Rush guy is a villain in the book. It may not be 100% the same person, but I think the guy might even be a psychiatrist or psychologist at some point in his past for one of the universes. So they hung the camera on him and gave him some scenes where you're just like, this feels like more than just a side character.
The weird light thing too. You're like, what's going on with this? Is he doing fucked up things here? Is he working for another family? Immediately, I almost thought she was going to kill him just as why'd you put me through that? Boom. Because she's ruthless. We know she'll shoot anyone at the drop of a hat, but I don't know. He's something.
I mean, I guess it's kind of, I don't know the word's ironic or no, fitting. It's fitting. It's Agatha all along talk as well. We're going back to WandaVision. This guy's on the sus list, right? Number one of the sus list right now.
Our sus list is a full FBI most wanted with this show, but he's definitely there.
For a civilian, he's very high on the sus list.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And I rewatched The Batman, and I recommend anyone who didn't do so before the show Do it now. Again, I think it's on Max. It's definitely on Max. So if you're watching the
Mhm.
Penguin, obviously you can watch Batman, the Batman, and it's better than I remembered because again, that last act does go a little too long. I kind of like. I think I fast forward. I'm just like on my phone for a little bit. It was stuff you didn't really need to see, but the first 3 parts, fantastic. Fan
Yeah.
fucking tastic. And I think it was the first movie I'd seen since COVID. So it was a lot of weird shit going on back then. Getting a full rewatch and kind of seeing, like you said, how they made a Batman movie into like this, like it was grittier. And now we're getting the mob version that has some Batman characters in it. I'm pretty happy with the way this world is being built right now.
I rewatched The Dark Knight last week. I had never seen that movie. No, I'm kidding, but I did rewatch it, and
so did I, Bob. I
love the
mean,
goat.
it's the official movie of this podcast. I rewatched it like right after the Batman, like 2 days later. I was like, I'm just gonna rewatch The Dark Knight again because that's a thing that we do every week or so.
Just every week, it's just like you put it on. I saw a tweet that was like, I think maybe I mentioned this on the podcast. There was a tweet that said, "The Dark Knight convinces you it's the best movie ever made while you're watching it." And I was like, but yeah, no, it's just always the best movie ever made every single time. And every single time it hits for me. I can't stop quoting it every scene. I'm like saying the quotes before it comes up. My fiance's like, all right, we get it. You know all the quotes from The Dark Knight. I know all of them, and they're the best.
My mom's basement, our logo should say my mom's and then base and then Dark Knight. It's like when Milhouse is signing
Yeah.
Bart's cast in The Simpsons and he writes Millpool because he's just thinking about going in the pool the whole time. My mom's base, Dark Knight.
Yeah. We see Oz visits Maroni in prison, and also Maroni's wife, Nadia, who talks like this. I couldn't believe how gravelly her voice was. I thought that was crazy.
She's like the person who
mob.
puts the thing in her throat.
Yes.
I shouldn't have smoked all those years. Now I have emphysema.
Yes, I had an uncle like that. Shout out Uncle Joe, rest in peace. He
Rest
had
in peace.
the whole thing and everything, but yeah, his voice kind of sounded like that before he had that too. So it didn't change much, to be honest. The camels, the year's worth of smoking camels did that to him. But they talk about the new Don Luca, Carmine's brother, and how Oz kind of forced Maroni's hand to take the fall. But I love the way Oz was kind of like, whatever, you're still on top now. It's like he brushes it off as like, whatever, I caused a mob war between two of the biggest families in Gotham, but you're on top again. You're wearing the ring, right? You're happy about the ring. And Nadia is, I don't want to say she's like Logan Roy's wife, where she's kind of like running things while he's getting old. But while Maroni's in prison, it seems like Nadia is running some shit because of the way she talks to him when she says in another language, like, oh, he's a dog, but dogs could be trained or something like that. Where it's like, oh, they're trying to play Oz as he thinks he's playing them. Everyone has the guns up. It's the office gift right now. Everyone thinks that they're getting the advantage. Nobody really knows right now that we're still in the power vacuum zone, but everything goes haywire when Oz tells Maroni about Falcone. He's got this shipment, drops again, going, why don't you hijack it? And they have this whole plan. I'm not going to sit in the supply car so you could hijack the supply car. Right at the last second, Johnny Vidi's like, it's your fucking mission. Of course you're going to sit in the supply car. You got to watch all the supply. You got to watch the drops. Goes haywire. They rob it. He's got to make the decision. Do I stick up for the Maronis, who I just told about this drop, or do I just kill them and stick with the Falcones? He goes with the Maronis, gets away. It was in this moment where I was very rooting for him. Couldn't believe it. Another great song, too. Forget what song it was on the radio, but he's like crashing, there was a funny song playing and stuff. And really good action scene. Another episode where this, and then later on when they have like the hostage comes back, or one of the guys that was here they took hostage, it just keeps putting him in that Walter White, Tony Soprano, how is he going to dig himself out of this whole scenario?
Yeah, so first of all, the women, again, you have Nadia and Sofia, and they both like don't trust Oz, but I think both think they can make him do what they want him to do, or at least like be able to like catch him red-handed at some point and then kill his ass. And I know at some point Oz is in like I'm going to say episode 5. I'm calling out. He's like, I got these two broads. You know he's gonna say broads. I got these
Yeah.
two broads, and they both got my neck right now, kid. I don't know what to do, Vic. What should I do with these two broads here? These two lasses or something. Now I have fucking
Someone's gonna go called Toots probably.
Yes,
at some point.
definitely gonna get a Toots. It hurt me so much to have these two broads running from my throat, kid. I have to put my hand up on this, and it could be because like I was watching it early in the morning, or there's just so much. These characters, so many of them are kind of NPCs, and I really don't get to know the faces. I was confused about whose side of the drug deal we were on. I'm like, all right, we're in this car, so does that mean we're with the Falcones and the Maronis? I had no clue. And even for like a good chunk of the episode, I was like, I don't know who we killed again. So I was a little confused there. Because I'm like, are we in the Falcones warehouse? Or are we in like the Maronis warehouse that we haven't seen before? I was just confused during all that. That's just me. And I also just wanted to shout out because I believe my 9-year-old daughter told me that joke about why don't seagulls fly over the bay? Because then they'd be bagels. And I thought that was a fantastic joke. And the organized crime joke about the difference between the government and the mafia is that one of them is organized. I thought that was fucking fantastic. Mayor Adams, am I right, Bob? Am I right?
Hey, indicted. Yeah. I love that clip. Everyone is reposting to Mayor Adams look under your kid's pillow. Something as simple as a crack pipe.
I mean, the word goated gets thrown around a lot these days. Goated video. Absolutely.
Goated video. It makes me laugh every single. My fiance had never seen it. I got to show it to her for the first time. Oh my God. We were dying laughing. But
that's like an out of order sketch, but it
really is. And the way it cuts too, it's just like, look, behind a picture frame, bullets. Behind a gun. It's just like, what?
Why is your kid carrying a fucking doll in their backpack? Like, it's a grown kid carrying a baby doll. Of course it's fucking out of order. And then you pull up the back and could be a crack pipe, could be a knife. Oh, the best.
So funny. If you haven't seen that Mayor Adams could be a crack pipe video, check that out. Not to get political on the podcast, but
must watch.
An all-time must-watch video. So
tell me he wouldn't be a great Batman mayor.
Oh, he absolutely would be. He'd be the guy that like Mayor Bella Real beats in the election or something. Yes. I don't know what her political affiliation is, but it just seems like she would get out or she would get in right as he got out or something. We might get her in this because we saw her in in one of the news clips at the beginning of The Penguin. I wouldn't be surprised if The Penguin has a run-in with the mayor at some point.
I could see that.
Yeah. She's a pretty good actress.
I believe it's mayor-elect, Robbie. I don't think we want to use the incorrect terminology here, isn't it?
Oh, because she hasn't been sworn in yet, right?
I believe it's mayor-elect.
So I think you're right.
Please don't mess that up. If we're going to get political on the show, we have to be correct.
So Johnny Vitti is pissed. He's yelling at Oz for the shipment going wrong, the hijacking and everything. Sofia has his back. She's like, I don't know why you're more concerned about the product than the lives and whatnot. And she suggests there's a rat in the family. Luca doesn't love that being brought up. I think her saying that right as Luca gains the Don power makes him feel like, what are you accusing me of, like, not being the rat, but being unorganized, people not trusting me, people not falling in line with me. Oz tells Victor how he first became involved with the mob business as Carmine Falcone's driver, talks about someone talking to the feds and having to be killed and everything. And he has like a bunch of ladies of the night come over. Hookers? Am I allowed to say hookers?
I prefer ladies of the night because it's just such a hilarious term, but I think you're fine either way.
Well, they seem like good women. Roxy, Eve, all these people. We learned that on the radio that Sofia killed 7 women as the hangman, or allegedly, because she's out of Arkham now. We don't really know what happened there. I assume we'll get the backstory at some point. She also bribes Detective Marcus Wise with helping her. He didn't really want to go back into the corrupt cop business. But she's like, you used to help Carmine. You could help me, and gives him some drops, gives him some money. And Eve, the one who he used as an alibi in the last episode, the lady of the night he used as an alibi, comes to him and is like, hey, I'm not stupid. I know Alberto's dead. You came to me in a panic that night. Things were going strange. Am I in trouble now? He says no because of Johnny Vitti's blackmail photos that he had. He's like, nope, I got these blackmail photos. Everything's going to be fine. Victor, the poor kid, was so uncomfortable the whole time. I just felt bad for Victor. They just he keeps being put in spots by Oz for him to feel awkward. In the mom's house with the hookers. He's checking his phone a bunch about maybe he has a girl or a sister or a cousin or someone. Gabriella, I think, was in his phone, and he's checking about that. Did you catch anything else on the Gabriella girl? I didn't really. know what they were talking about. I don't know if he was concerned about her in the flood, her getting killed, the missing persons.
I didn't pick up on anything there. I mean, if the kid didn't have a speech impediment, he probably would by the time Oz is done with him,
Yeah.
because he's just putting him in
Yeah.
all these spots. But he also doesn't have it when Oz is around, so it's like that's some buddy shit right here. You know,
True.
like that's his boy. So I like the building here. Again, I know people don't like the actor. I'm rolling with Vic. I've had enough.
I thought he was okay in this episode. He didn't bother
better.
me.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's fair enough. I also. It's like such a tough. You're just trying to impress the girl or talk to her, and then she's like, "Oh, that's the place that basically got flooded to hell, and everyone's dead there. That's your home. Did you lose anybody in
Crown
Alderaan
Height or Crown Point or something? Yeah,
it's the Alderaan. Did you lose anybody? Like, of course, yeah. The whole fucking place is flooded. So I thought that was pretty interesting. The one. So first of all, they're talking about pinning it on Jimmy Vitti. Is it Vitti?
Vitti, I think Jimmy Vitti. Yeah.
Is he? Do you know if he's a Batman character?
Johnny Vitti.
Johnny Vitti. Yeah, Johnny Vitti.
He probably is, to be honest.
So in the show, I did when they were like pin it on Johnny.
Yeah,
Vitti,
he is.
like, I was like, shit, I don't remember which one that is. I do like Luca. There's something about the cut of his jib. I'm like, I could see that guy as the next head of the family, or he's going to be this little transitional before Penguin or Sofia or whoever takes it. I kind of like the cut of his jib. Vitti, I think you're supposed to kind of just dislike him. He's just because him and the Penguin are banging heads. And then the other guy, who is Milo, this guy, every time I look at him, I'm like, this guy's from something. And it was bothering me, Bob. It was bothering me for a long time. I looked it up. He's in Band of Brothers. I'm like, that might have been it because I just watched that for the first time recently. Great series, which you'll hear from anyone who's watched it. Definitely recommend. But I was like, I feel like this guy was in Doogie Howser, but I know he's not Vinny from Doogie Howser. I looked it up. He's Jimmy from Doogie Howser. I don't know.
Wow, what a pull.
That is from the 80s. This brain stinks, but somehow, some way, it fucking knew. It remembered that there was a Jimmy character in Doogie Howser MD, and I nailed it. So shout out.
That's a basement boy pull. Your brain is dialed to basement. Like, you might not be able to do algebra and quantum physics and shit, but that pull, knowing someone who was in Doogie Howser in the 80s and then is in the Penguin as a full, grown adult, that's crazy.
Oh, Bob, and let me just say one more thing here, because I'm looking at his IMDb right now. His name, for the people at home listening and watching, is James Madio, Madio. Mm-hmm. And I'm here like, I could have sworn he was in Hook, too, right under Doogie Howser.
Oh.
He's in Hook. And I was like, I knew he was in Hook. He's Jimmy Pellegrino in Doogie Howser, apparently, which I don't remember at all. I just kind of said he looks like a Doogie guy. And then I'm going here, and he's Don't Ask, which is just one of the Lost Boys. So he's just one of the Lost Boys. He's probably a tier 2 to 3 Lost Boy, depending on how you feel. I personally think Rufio's trash. I'm happy he's dead. Spoiler alert. Fuck Rufio. Then the big boy, I love him. I love There You Are, Peter kid. And then I think below them is Don't Ask, which is our boy here, Milo from the Penguin. So based on my personal power rankings, Luca 1, Milo 2, that scumbag Johnny Vitti 3, which I feel like the Johnny Vitti death, that's going to be the mwah. That was a good death. Like, he's going to earn his death from the Penguin this season.
I hope we get to see that. I hope we get like a fucking Penguin choking him out or something.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Which and then you said about Sofia has a body count of 7 women. And then I'm hearing, I think it was Heavy Spoiler, someone's like, it might have been girls in addition to women, because then when she heard the cousin kind of grabs the girl, and I'm like, Sophia's a bad girl, but is she like a bad girl? Like, really?
That scene was crazy too. Like, when the cousin comes over and you think like, all right, they're family. This is how cousins interact. And then the daughter walks over and she gets so protective and scared right away. You're like, okay, she's doing the thing where you're like, let me be nice to this kid. So if something happens one day, maybe I'm not on the list.
Yeah, monster shit. Legit monster shit out of Sofia there.
Poor Oz's mom has been wandering around like Uncle Junior. She's kind of a mix between Uncle June and Livia at this point, and he's doing the whole, what kind of son am I? If I'm not a son, what am I? They go to Alberto's funeral. He talks to Sofia outside. There's a lot of protesters protesting the fact that she's even out of Arkham Asylum. His mother did not hold funerals for his brothers. I thought that was a little detail that they threw in there that was interesting. Made me think about Penguin in a way I never thought about him, having brothers. It was like, oh, weird. I don't know if it was an iron claw type situation with the mom or what. I don't know how depressing it got, but it sounded pretty depressing.
It hoit, Bob. It hoit when my brothers didn't have a
You
proper
got
burial.
it. You got it. You get the hoit. And then he talks about taking his mother out to dance to get her out of the depression. It's kind of a likable moment. And he gets the like, we need to talk text from Nadia. We find out later it's from Nadia. It's about the fact that one of the Maronis was not killed at the hijack, was taken in by the Falcones, and he's about to rat. And then they get into the whole thing. Victor's supposed to plant jewels. He's not able to do it. So Oz has to kill the Maroni in the basement, has to stab him. Another moment that I don't mean to keep drawing Breaking Bad and Sopranos comparisons, but him having to make that decision in the basement reminded me a little bit of Walter in the basement season 1 with the plates, where it's like, I don't want to do this. I'm forced into it. Not that that was Walt's first kill and all that stuff, but just gave me similar vibes. And then everyone's brought into a room after the guy's discovered. And it's like, oh, fuck, they're going to look for the killer right now. And you see when Oz gets into it with the bodyguard, you're like, he must have planted that knife. And of course he did. Right before Sofia's about to shoot that guy, Luca shoots him and tells Sofia, go back to Italy. Like, you ain't safe. We don't need you here. Go to Italy. She obviously takes offense to that. And we end the episode with her and Oz teaming up, her being like, hey, do you want to help me take over this family? And I think he says, let's dance.
Let's dance, Toots. I'm ready. I'm ready to do it. You know, you dancing. I just danced with my mother. I'll dance with you too, honey.
Even recapping that like makes me like not like appreciate the episode more, but like recapping that, I'm like, damn, that was some good shit.
Yeah, and again, it doesn't have to just be comic booky shit. It can just be a good mob show, fun mob show. I like when Oz has to think on his feet and go on the fly. He did it last episode with the body in the trunk, and obviously Vic had to do all that. Vic fucks up when they're doing it on the fly this time, and now you have to see what Oz did there. And I appreciated how you're like, oh, he's going to plant it on Johnny. That would be too obvious. He plants it on the bodyguard who we had talked to beforehand. So there was a lot. I like the way, I think the name of the episode is Inside Man or something like that. Yeah. So I went in thinking, oh, this is going to be interesting. We're going to see who the rat is or whatever it may be. And it's just like a fun show. On Sunday, in the midst of NFL Sunday, the Mets were battling for their playoffs lives. I was still legitimately looking forward to 9 o'clock with the Penguin. And it's going to continue at this rate because I think it's just a good show. Sofia is a bad bitch. Do you think she's Sofia with an F? Because it says PH in the credits, but I feel like.
Oh, does it? I've been writing F in my notes.
Oh, maybe we'll just give her that.
She must be PH. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. If she had it with the F, she would overtake Sofia with the F. She would be the Sofia with the F.
If she fumbles the criminal family bag,
the Falcone bag.
Yes. Sofia with an F, and the F stands
Call me Hangman.
Call me Hangman.
Someone's got to make a podcast logo or something with her on it. That would be pretty funny. And I think this show, not just this episode, this show is hitting for more than just Batman fans too, because I saw a stat that it's the top rated modern HBO show other than The Last of Us and House of the Dragon. It's number 3.
Wow.
So it's doing really well. It's a show where I feel very comfortable recommending it to people. Like even I was saying to Dave, I was saying to Glennie, like people that haven't even seen The Batman yet. I'm like, you don't even really need to see the movie. You should, because it's going to help you. And it's a great movie. You'll enjoy it. But you can just hop into this as a mob show and enjoy it. My fiance was so excited for it on Sunday. Like Lady Fox is like, oh, we got a new Penguin today. And it's just like cool that it's hitting everything. And it's doing a good job of, like the Sopranos, being a mob show that keeps it light and keeps it fun. It's never dark and depressing. It might get there for scenes. I'm sure we'll get there towards the end of the season. But as of right now, it's still fun and it moves and they use the fun music. It's really well done.
I'll tell you right now, some of the Sofia stuff is going to get dark and depressing. I'm making that call right now. It's not exactly calling my shot, but I think based on the way she looks and some of the way she acts, I'm going to say that's going to get ugly there. But yeah, I said to my dad, I was like, oh, I just watched this Penguin show. Really? He's like, oh yeah, I watched it the other day with your brother. I'm like, really? Like, because he's not a comic book guy. I don't know if he even saw the Batman, but I think he just was like, heard it was a good show and he checked it out. He liked it. He didn't like love it, but he liked it. And it's like, that's all you can really ask for. So again, this is a win because I don't trust the people at Max to make the right decisions on stuff, considering they took out the letters HBO from their app and their like main product when it's the only thing that's fucking like the driver of it, right, is HBO.
Mhm.
And these are the people that fumbled the NBA away on TNT, this whole Time Warner Discovery, whatever this conglomerate is. David Zaslav's the head of it. So the better this does, the less they'll probably try to fuck with it and maybe give it the right budget, and you'll have less cuts to the DC stuff. And they can just let James Gunn and all the people under him cook without being bothered. And that's all I can ask for.
Yeah. All right, let's tell the people about Game Time, and then I'm going to describe 3 episodes of Agatha all along to you. Game Time is the absolute best in the business. We love getting out to live events, whether it's a concert, a football game, a comedy show, whatever it is, we always use Game Time. It's the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports, and they now have a Game Time Picks feature. So if you're looking at the website right now, if you're in the New York City area, Game Time Picks on Wednesday, October 16th. You could go see Billie Eilish at Madison Square Garden, one of the hottest tours in the world right now. $196 get you in the building. How about Saturday, October 5th, ALDS? Who knows at Yankees? Home game one, $73 gets you in the building. Bills at Jets, Monday Night Football on the 14th, $112 at MetLife. Game Time Picks is the absolute best, and it makes it super easy, filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats. So you're not going to waste your time searching through thousands of options. When you're searching, just pull up your chosen event and turn on the GT Picks setting at the top of your screen, or you could look at it on the Game Time homepage. It's great. I'm going to get those tickets now for any one of those amazing prices. Download the Game Time app today and use code MMB to easily score great deals with new Game Time picks. What time is it? Game Time.
Game Time. Ooh.
We love Game Time. They're the best, the absolute best in the biz. Makes it very, very easy to buy tickets. All right. I'm going to describe one episode at a time to you and get your thoughts.
Okay.
I have just very general, broad strokes. Now, episode 1, I was pretty impressed with. Episode 1 opens as like a detective procedural show. It's stylized in the same way WandaVision is stylized. And they even do a beginning that says Agnes of Westview. It makes it look like Mayor of Easttown or like True Detective. So it's her like investigating. There was like a blunt force trauma murder victim by a creek. And all of the co-stars, I didn't even realize this, are the WandaVision cast. So like neighbor Herb and Dottie,
Herb,
all of them, they're back. Herb's back and he's great.
Yes.
So like right
Herb.
away, I was like, oh, fuck yeah, we're back with Herb. Like, all right, maybe this is going to be good, right? She finds a library card with the dead body. So she brings it to the library. Dottie's working at the library. The book that was checked out was burned years ago. And there's a hole in the library. It's like weird. But you kind of put together, oh, this is probably the dark hole.
Dark hole, right?
Here.
Did we have Dottie on the sus list at some point? I feel like we had Dottie on the sus list at some point.
We had everyone on the sus list except maybe Herb.
R.I.P. Yeah.
So
no,
they find
Herb was definitely on the sus list at some point.
He was like, right? I think we
trimming
did.
The hedges. We're like, fucking Herb's trimming the hedges. Sus list, motherfucker.
We thought he was a robot or something because he froze, I think.
That's right.
Yeah, that was bad. But they find the soil under the nails of the murder victim is from Eastern Europe, not Westview. So you're like, oh, fuck. Are they going where I think they're going with this?
Sokovia?
They introduce Aubrey Plaza. Yep. They introduce Aubrey Plaza, and she's kind of fucking with Agatha right away, where you can get the vibe like, I think Aubrey Plaza is a witch who knows Agatha's in a spell right now, thinking she's in a detective show. But it's good stuff. And then like she's fucking with her. Someone tries to like steal stuff from Agatha's house, like a teen kid. So she chases him down, puts him in jail, interrogates him, and then he says some Latin shit. And you don't know what's going on, but what's happening is he's breaking her out of the spell. He wanted to get caught to break her out of the spell. And she sees a body tag on the body. Finally, it says Wanda Maximoff. And you're like, oh shit, she's discovering Wanda's dead for the first time. And Rio says, Wanda's been trapped. You got to claw your way out of this. And she like rips off it was in the trailer a little bit, rips off every like persona. So she goes through all the WandaVision eras, goes into a black and white, and she's been Agatha all along. It was dope. It was really good. Then wakes up, realizes she's been trapped in Westview for years, runs out of the house naked and runs up to Herb. It's like, how long have I been here? He's like, 3 years. So she's been trapped. This is 3 years post WandaVision, I think. And her and Aubrey Plaza like fight a little bit. She convinces Aubrey Plaza, hold off until I have my powers, because she has no powers right now. She's like, we'll have a one-on-one match and you could try to get your revenge or whatever when I have my powers. That was episode 1.
The witch's code, you gotta let the other person be full witch, give a
code of honor, exactly.
Cauldron, hat, everything.
So that was episode 1, and I was like, that's pretty fucking good. It was like interesting.
Ball
they
scale?
Talked about dead bodies, Wanda. Ball scale like 3, which I didn't know what to expect, but I was happy with episode 1.
One question about episode 1.
Yeah, go ahead.
Episode 1. Is Agatha all on the theme song?
No, like intro theme, no nothing like that.
Okay, I could live with that as long as.
Well, I guess they did it was the Agatha or Agnes of Westview. It was like a True Detective style.
Okay,
like a country song almost. But it wasn't they didn't have like an Agatha intro that extends to every episode or anything. Episode 2 picks up right where this left off, and it immediately kind of becomes a different show a little bit. The teen, who we don't know his name, wants to go down the witch's road. He's like, I could do little tricks, but I want to do real magic. I know that's what you want to do as well. I broke you out of this spell with my curse. And you also find out when she thinks she put him in jail, she really just locked him up in her closet. Like, she was really going crazy with this spell. She was never a cop. That was all fake. And we hear the Salem 7 are after her. So she's like, all right, you broke me out of my spell. I don't know who you are. And she says, what's your name? And he goes to say it, and like his mouth like almost like pixelates. Like he's got a spell over his mouth where he can't say who his name is or what his backstory is. I think, skipping ahead here, I think he's one of Wanda's kids.
What, Ralph Boner? We're talking Ralph Boner?
No, that's Wanda's brother.
That's right.
I think he's Billy or Tommy or some shit.
Who would that
Billy
be?
Or the other one?
Oh, shoot. White and
Wiccan and Speed.
Oh, God. Are we going to go? But I'm saying, are they Boner kids or are they real kids?
I don't know. I think the one kid is real. And a theory I've seen that I believe, and again, skipping ahead, I think he wants to go down the witch's road to get his brother who's like trapped or something.
Gotcha. Okay.
That would make sense to me. But they assemble this coven. It's Patti LuPone, Sashir Zamata, and Ali On. A bunch of witches. They go to like a fortune teller. They go to like a potion shop, and they go to a Hot Topic, which made me laugh. One of the witches just working at a Hot Topic. And again, the teen can't talk about his past. When he tries to give his backstory, his mouth all pixelates and you can't understand him.
I don't like when they do that. I don't like when they do the pixelated mouth.
It's a weird, it's not like pixelated either. It's like something goes, it's like skin like connects. It's weird. It looks fucked up. But they need like one last witch for their coven. And Agatha just grabs Miss Hart, who is like the one from WandaVision, who was like the sweet old lady. She's been in a million things in the past. The whole time she's like, I don't think I should be doing this. And my name isn't Miss Hart, it's Sharon. Why do you keep calling me by my Wanda name? And they're like, it's fine. The Salem 7 arrive and they start singing the witch song, which it made me feel like Acolyte all over again. They're trying to open the witch's coven, the road or whatever. Ugh. And then a small fight. They sort of start to fight. Agatha doesn't have any powers, but she can absorb powers and use them. So she's trying to bait the witches into using their powers on her, and then she'll be able to use powers, but they don't fall for that, and they just go down the road. So episode 2 is all like we're assembling the team. You're going to Patti LuPone, and you're being zany and wacky in a fortune teller shop, and you're going to so-and-so, teasing the kid. It wasn't as good, and I felt like I could sort of tell it was starting to go down this road. Episode 3 was a little bit more of the same from 2.
So we're not where we were after episode 1. Fair to say.
No, the ball scale on this one, I would say like 1.5, maybe.
Okay.
It was like, it was never actively hard. I was never like, oh, this is horrible. It was just a little bit boring and a little bit like it didn't keep my interest.
Was it like this is the acolyte all along? Like, did it feel like that after that?
It felt a little acolyte-y, yeah. It's like it's lighter and maybe like funnier than the acolyte, so it makes it a little easier to watch than that. The bright colors and shit. Catherine Hahn is very funny. Like the whole show, she's funny. But yeah, I don't like the kid, unfortunately. And he's not a kid; he's a teen. But he's got a little bit of an angsty teen thing going on for him, and it's just. Let's get into episode 3.
Okay.
Sharon, Miss Hart, is just petrified that they brought her down the Witch's Road. They're now in this fantastical journey, Neverland area. And she's again like, I feel like you guys are kidnapping me. And all of the witches kind of feel the same way.
I'm getting sick of Sharon's shit right now. I just started hearing this story for 5 minutes. I'm like, Sharon.
She is complaining a lot. Yeah. I think I'm pretty sure Sharon was the one that was in That 70s Show. The mom from That 70s Show.
Oh, yes. She's the
what I'm talking about?
I love yeah.
So you're back in on it.
Oh, I'm in on Sharon. Now I'm mad that they're bothering Sharon. Stop bothering Sharon so much.
Yeah. Agatha doesn't care. Nobody has their powers when they're in the Witch's Road. So they're going to be put through like trials. And it's like, we'll see if you can pass every test. And if you pass every test, you get to the Witch's Road, then you make a wish at the end. Whatever. It's kind of
are they hammering home how important the Witch's Road is too? Like,
yes.
I'm getting sick.
The Witch's Road is the series. It's like
the whole series. Okay.
I think the whole series is going to be on the Witch's Road, which I'm already sick of it.
Again, not a horror guy, and things like Witch's Roads, I just do not care about. I do not like. It's just not my thing. I'll never go to Salem, Massachusetts. That's a problem.
No,
it may not even be Massachusetts. It may be somewhere else, but I'm pretty sure it's Massachusetts.
I think it's Massachusetts.
Right? Yeah, I will never go there. I'll never go to anywhere names. There's a North Salem, New York. That's the closest thing. Right down the road.
They have a conversation with the teen where they're like, why would anyone want to hide you? Why would anyone want to hide your powers? And again, I'm like, I think it's because he's the son of the Scarlet Witch, and it's like. You can't do that there. Sharon almost dies in quicksand, gets her purse sucked into it. And then they go into this nice house. They see a nice house on the Witch's Road. They go in and they all get transformed into, they almost look like they're like real housewives. Like they have nice clothes right away, a nice house. The kid is no longer wearing like, he has like eyeliner and piercings and shit. And they're all gone. He's got his hair combed. He's got like a nice sweater vest on. And they read this riddle. There's a riddle when they go in. My age has value. I'm no fun alone. I mess with your mind. My tricks are well known. What could that be? If you were on the Witch's Road, my age has value. I'm no fun alone. I mess with your mind. My tricks are well known.
Bottle of wine?
A bottle of wine.
I got it.
A bottle of wine.
Oh my God. I did not think
you would be good on the Witch's Road. Listen, if anyone's going on the Witch's Road anytime and they need like a partner, a companion, this guy treating it like an escape room, you would be great.
Maybe I am on the Witch's Road, and I'm just telling you guys I don't follow the Witch's Road because then you guys won't go on the Witch's Road like you're not supposed to. I imagine the witches.
I'm glad you got
is it frowned upon to go on the Witch's Road? I imagine the witches don't want anyone on their road. Is that a fair thing to say?
I don't think the witches want anyone on the road because it's not going too great for Sharon, who's not a witch.
What?
Well, I guess the teen isn't a witch either, but he like kind of wants to be, and it's like, so they drink the wine, not realizing it was a poison. It was a test.
Oh,
so they all go into like their face blows up, all of their faces, and it looks like they got like crazy Botox and plastic surgery or something. Then it goes down, and they have to make an antidote with the blood of the teen because he was the only one that didn't drink it, so he's the blood of the Unsullied or something. And we also learn through their hallucinations and their crazy poisonous hallucinations, Agatha gave up a child at some point, and nobody knows what happened to that child. And they mention that child could be an agent of Mephisto, and they say the M word. And the first time ever, it was like, oh, they said the M word finally. And I don't think that kid is an agent of Mephisto. He could be. But they're trying to tease that it's the teen in the show. They're trying to be like, could be you. I think it's a red herring. And again, it's going to be the Wanda kid. But they brew the potion, the antidote with teen's blood. And then Sharon is still, I don't think she's dead, but she's still passed out and unconscious. She looks lifeless. And they're able to like get to the next part of the journey through the oven. So they just like crawl into the oven as if it's like the trash compactor shoot in Star Wars. And they put her body in the oven and shit. And that's how episode 3 ends. Again, probably an improvement on episode 2, but I would say this one was maybe 1.75 balls, maybe 2 balls. It's not
Okay.
much, but maybe a little step up. Nothing has been excruciating to get through about this show. Nothing about it would make me recommend it to anyone.
It sounds kind of like the Acolyte without the lightsaber battles, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I saw the Rick Dalton, Leo pointing memes, and I thought I saw the word Mephisto flying around. How good did it feel to hear that word said after all that fucking sleuth work we did?
It felt good.
Right?
Even in this, I would have rather heard it in WandaVision or one of the shows we wanted to hear it in. Even in Agatha, when I had my guard down and wasn't really looking out for it, it was just like, all right, he exists. They're going to get to him one day. Even if it's years down the road, he was mentioned, they're going to get to him one day. Like, he's in the plans. He's on the whiteboard.
Yes. Yeah. He's on the whiteboard, exactly.
That felt good.
I am happy I didn't spend, is it an hour-long show? Don't tell me it's
No.
Okay.
Half hour. And, with the Disney Plus credits, too, it's long, so it's probably 25 minutes a piece. That makes it easy as well.
Like, spending 90 minutes or whatever of my life, maybe it would have been worth the trade-off just to hear the M word, but I know I would have been Mr. Grumpy Pants. The Mets were probably losing at that point. I would have been a real, this is probably for the best that this is how I did it. I would have loved to hear the M word myself. I'm going to probably go search for the clip now so I can at least hear it.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So Mephisto's out there. I was going to say they can't kill Sharon just because that woman is so beloved. They killed the dog, though, in WandaVision. So I feel like anyone can really go. Question for you.
Yep.
Would you rather have to drive on the Witches Road or on Rainbow Road?
No.
Rainbow Road is very tough, and it's very long.
It's very tough, but I pick Rainbow Road because I think I control my own destiny and fate on Rainbow Road. If I drive off the road, it's my fault. Witches Road, I don't know what they're throwing at me. Like that riddle, I don't know if I would be able to solve that bottle of wine riddle like you solved it. So I don't know.
The Team ZD takes a lot of shit on the dozen for easy questions. They're groove towards us. If you look back, I solved some of these puzzle questions where I don't know where in my brain I pulled these things. Again, anyone listens to podcasts knows how shitty my brain is, but it occasionally comes through, and that's one of those spots. And I hate Rainbow Road. This is a take, and I don't know if it's even a hot take. Rainbow Road sucks. When someone chooses Rainbow Road as the level, usually will be winner gets to choose. It's dude, come on. That's 8 minutes of our lives. We can play if you want to go hard, I always thought Bowser's Castle is the real where you cut your teeth as a legitimate player.
That's real ones know.
Yes, exactly. Whereas Rainbow Road, it's it was cool the first time they showed it, and I know it's the last level, but it stinks. However,
I don't think it stinks.
There's probably one Rainbow Road I'm thinking of that's very, very long. I do not like that one.
All right.
The other ones, though, I can say I won't say all Rainbow Roads are bad. Just some of them are bad. We can agree on that.
I look at Rainbow Road like Wonderwall. It's not their best song. It's the most popular, and it's not their best, so it makes you want to shit on it a little bit. But it is fun when you're in the midst of it.
You say Rainbow Road, everyone knows what you're talking about. Where you say DK Mountain, I think Bowser's Castle is probably the only one that is another one that's probably been in every game. But Bowser's Castle is also just a Mario level at this point. So Rainbow Road it's necessary, but not great in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a fair take.
This is the thing about Rainbow Road. As much as it sucks, you don't have to drink people's blood to stay alive on it. So that's why I think you would choose Rainbow Road over the Witches Road. So that's our take on Agatha all along. We brought up Rainbow Road. I'm talking that sounds more fun than whatever the show is doing right now. Yeah. How many episodes? 8 episodes of this or 6?
I don't even know. I think it's probably 8 to line up with
Halloween.
Halloween would be so we have 3 and then another.
Because they debuted with 2, right?
Yeah,
Would I be right about that? 1 season, 9 episodes. Weird.
I don't know about.
I think WandaVision might have been 9 too, and that's maybe part of the reason why I thought there's gonna be a secret final episode.
Yeah,
they gotta have 10, right?
Damn it! The stupid calendar with the heart. Remember that?
Yeah.
All the little fucking breadcrumbs we were looking at. Oh my! And that was in pandemic. We had nothing better to do, and our brains were shot. We were just looking for happiness and hope. And we were like, oh, the MCU. The one thing we could count on
is the MCU being great.
Yeah.
That's what we were saying back in 2020. Because, basically the last thing they did was Endgame, and that fucking rocked. It's like, yeah, man, that was a decade's worth of stuff and no problems with production to get there. And we instead had to deal with that bullshit, which again, WandaVision was good. This was another question I had from this episode. Real Housewives part.
Yeah.
Did it feel like they were kind of doing like, all right, we did all these other eras in WandaVision. We're going to now bring the Real House. Because I think that's a cool twist if they.
It wasn't like, I wish they leaned into it more. I wish it looked like a reality show when they got there and they had like talking head interviews of like, yeah, I thought Dottie was a bitch in that moment.
Yeah,
like
that would have been
something
great.
like that. Yeah. But it was just kind of the aesthetic and the look. And it did come off like, hey, we did all these eras. So we're going to continue an era thing with like something we haven't really put them in before. I kind of appreciated that, like doing something different every episode to make me remember, oh, that was the Real Housewives episode. Like I'm down with that. And I loved the episode 1 stuff where they made it look like Mayor of Easttown or True Detective. Like that was really cool. So I do like that. I felt a little bait and switched with the WandaVision cast being in the first episode, like seeing Herb, seeing all these people. That made me go like, oh shit, they weren't even big characters, but it made me like have a good reaction, have that point to the screen. I remember them. I like them. And now it's like you only get Sharon because they're on the Witches Road. I want to cut back to Herb. I want to cut back to Westview. I want to see stuff like that. Maybe I'm the only one. Maybe we got some people in the basement that love them as well. But yeah, good, not great, I would say, as far as Agatha. It's okay. I don't even know if I would say
I would say,
okay.
yeah, I'd say good might be a little too much based on what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
2 ball, 1.75.
I wouldn't
3
say like it's
balls.
horrible. I wouldn't say it's unwatchable. It's going to get the review bombers, of course, but
How gay is it? Be honest, because I know the gay thing is a big thing. In the
it's pretty
bombers.
gay. They're talking about
gay.
it's the gayest MCU show. It's pretty gay. If you're into that stuff, like it's pretty gay.
Be honest now, because I know it's your boy. Is it gayer than Captain America?
Yeah, it's a little gayer.
Don't you say that? He's begging. He's great. He's heterosexual.
Yeah, but I mean, who knows? I've seen people make crazy edits of Cap and Bucky, and they want to ship that bromance. There's weird corners of MCU Twitter, Clem. There's weird corners.
Hey, back in the 40s, I'm sure that shit didn't fly, but there was always those people.
They get to the modern world, they're like, I don't know.
Hey, Buck, it's a different time for us now, pal. It's a different time for us.
All right. That was the Penguin and Agatha all along. Again, if you're listening on the podcast feed, we're going to throw it right over to my interview with Kevin Smith. Really special for me. If you listen to this podcast, you probably know nobody has inspired me more professionally, creatively, to go after all of my dreams and stuff more than Kevin Smith. So that was like crazy awesome. I've got to sit in on Lights, Camera, Barstool interviews with him, but never do a one-on-one interview. He remembered me. He was so nice. If you're on the YouTube or Rumble watching this on a video feed, go over and watch it on our channel now.
#fuck Rainbow Road.